What's up, guys? We're back with another video today. I will be giving my full card predictions for Kape versus Horiguchi, which kind of feels weird given what we just had last week, which I did watch afterwards, and I have some stuff to talk about. I'll make a video probably in a day or two. I want to let things like simmer down before I gave my thoughts about after the card, but we'll talk about that when we get there. For now, we'll just focus on this Fight Night card. It's a good main event, I'd say. Like, Kape Horiguchi, great main event. It's kind of hard to compete with what we just had with Gaethje beating Ilya and Alex getting slimed. And, I have a lot to talk about when it comes to that Pahara coping, but that's besides the point. I'm here to give my full card predictions, and without further ado, we'll get right into it. Alright, the first fight that we have is Shane Colin versus Ortiri Tanzivilovi. I'm gonna go with Shane Colin by decision. I think that, both these guys are making their debut, but I think that Shane Colin is more interesting as a fighter. I think it's kind of hard to say, I haven't seen much tape footage when it comes to this fight. I'm just going with who I think will win. I'm going to go with Shane Colin. Alright, next fight we have Colo Rosa versus Luna Santos. Again, same thing. I'm going with Luna Santos by decision. I do think that the fact that she's more or less coming up, like she's having a better run so far than Colo Rosa is. I think that she's going to do better. There's not much to say. I'll just go with Santos by decision. Alright, next up we have Leon Shabazian versus Leven Chokili. I'm going with Leven Chokili by TKO in the second round because Shane Colin has 4 losses on his resume and all of them are by knockout. Levon has like 11 knockouts in his 14 wins. I think that's pretty clear to say. I don't think, though, he'll get in the first round. I think they'll be more hesitant going into the first round. And then I think that he'll eventually find it going to the second. Alright, next up we have Ilia Topuria versus Michael Aswell Jr. I'm going to go with Michael Aswell Jr. by TKO in round 1 because, after that performance that he had with Gaethje, I don't think Ilia has it in him anymore. Maybe he was never good to begin with. So I'm going to go with Michael Aswell Jr. by TKO in round 1. Alright, next up we have Alan Massimento versus Minch Rapsoso. I'm going to go with Alan by decision. I think that I could see a submission in this fight. I think I could because he does have a couple. He's actually much more of a submission artist, and I believe he had a submission. He had a submission over Cody Durden, I believe it was. Hey, Cody Durden, he did just win not too long ago, so I think that's alright still. Yeah, there's not much really to say. He's only had a couple fights in the UFC. I do think, though, he'll have more success in this fight than Mitch, so I'm gonna go with him by decision, but I could see a submission in this fight. Alright, next up we have Baya Mesquita versus Mesilo Mullins. I'm going with Baya Mesquita by submission round 2. She has a lot of submissions in her game, which for a women's fighter, if you have a lot of finishes, that's quite good. And, there's not much really to say. I think that she's going to get a submission round 2. Alright, next up we have Andre Lima versus Kevin Borjas. You see, I was thinking like he's going to finish him, but Kevin Borjas, he's kind of a tough fight for some people. I don't know why. He did get knocked out in his last fight, don't get me wrong, he did. But I don't know. I don't think that... Why? I don't know why. I'm thinking too deep into this, but I feel like Andre Lima, he's not going to finish him. I don't know. I think that maybe this is just one of those... I could see this being like a tough fight for him. And, he doesn't have any finishes in his UFC career, though. Yeah, I think that he'll get this by decision. Alright, next up, banger fight right here. We have Vinicius Oliveira versus Andre Fili. Now, I've seen some people pick Andre Fili, which... I can see where you're going at. Andre Fili is like a veteran at this point. He's kind of like a Neil Magny when it comes to featherweights. Like if you can beat Andre Fili, then you're actually quite good. I think Vinicius Oliveira will have some trouble with Andre Fili, but I think that he'll get it done. I don't think that he'll finish him. I've seen some people say that he's gonna finish him. I don't think so. Andre Fili is kind of a tough guy to finish. I think that he'll have a competitive 29-28. I may be a 30-27, but I think Andre Fili will... I think in the third round, Andre Fili will show the craftiness of a veteran, and I think he'll win the third. But the first 2, I think Vinicius will get it, and I think so. I think this will be a comfortable 29-28 for Vinicius Oliveira. Jesus Christ, these names. All right, next up we have Mazlik Bajridarina versus Marturizel Magomedov. What do you want me to say? Guys, come on. These names are some of these names are just so horrible, man. This is why I stopped uploading. But I'm going with Magomedov by TKO in round 1. I could see it also round 2. I don't really know. I mean, Magomedov's making his debut in his right now, and Mazalik, yes, he got finished by Gene Silva in round 1, which was a really bad finish on him. I think that could potentially do some damage for him when Magomedov fights him. And yeah, I could see this either being round 1 or round 2 TKO for Magomedov. Next up, we have interesting fight, I'd say. Christian Rodriguez versus Haider Emil. I could see maybe Haider somehow doing this, but I think Christian Rodriguez, he's a decent guy. He had a tough fight with Andre Fili. It was a very close fight. You could maybe argue Christian Rodriguez, but I don't think so. I'm gonna go with Christian Rodriguez by decision. He's never really been a finisher. I think that he'll just get this done by just maybe 29-28 or 30-27. All right, next up we have Ion Kutibela versus Nasro Sterling. I am gonna be the person to say this. I'm going with Ion Kutibera. This is gonna be my throw pick right here. I could see why everybody's picking Nasro Sterling, but I think that Ion Kutibera will just somehow pull this off like he does in sometimes he pulls bullshit like this a lot in some of his fights. I could see him do this again. I don't know. I think he's actually all right. Ion Kutibera. He's a good if Sterling can beat Ion Kutibera. Maybe we're talking that he's a decent light heavyweight, because right now light heavyweight is just in such a bad spot right now. We have Carlos Uberg, who's the champion, who's not gonna fight at all this year. Yuri got knocked out. We have no more Alex Pereira in that division. The only big real star in that division's gone. We have Jamal Hill moving up. We do have Paulo Costa. He's good. He actually could be a title contender if he stays at light heavyweight, because I think he will beat up a lot of those guys in that division. But that's about it, man. I mean, there's also Khalil, but Khalil's not going to be a champion. I'd be very surprised if he did. We're really in a tough spot right now. Heavyweight's doing a lot better, so, that's a hot take in my opinion, but that's another topic for another day. I'm going to go with Ion Kutibera by TKO in round 1. I'm going to do it. I can see him do this somehow. All right, now finally for the main event, which is the only really exciting fight on this card, man, is Manel Kape versus Hiryo Horiguchi. I'm going to go with Horiguchi by TKO in round 3. Yes, I am. I believe that Hiryo Horiguchi will beat him again because they fought in Ryzen a couple of years ago. Back, I think it was 2017 or 19 or something like that, last time they fought. And I know that Hiryo Horiguchi won that. I think, again, that he will get it done. He's looked great so far. Yes, he hasn't fought, the top-tier guys. I mean, he did beat Albazian, which is, it's all right win, but Albazian isn't, I'm going to be honest, I don't think that he's, that great. He got a robbery win against Kai Kara-France, and he's lost to basically all the other top guys. Lost to Brandon Moreno, and now he lost to Horiguchi. But I do think that Manel Kape is a very tough fight. He does have power. One of the only few guys at that division that has legit power in his hands. He's quick. He's kind of a sneaky kind of lanky guy, I could very much see Manel Kape somehow do this because he shocked me against Brandon Royval. I did not think he was going to slime him in the first round. So who knows? Maybe he might do it again this fight. But I'm going to go with Hiryo Horiguchi. I think he's a more well-rounded fighter compared to Manel Kape. But guys, that's my full card predictions for Manel Kape versus Hiryo Horiguchi. Let me know what you guys think about my predictions. Do you think I'll get them right? Do you think I'll get them wrong? Will I have one of the worst predictions card again? Let's hope not. But that's my predictions for this card. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace!